Today on Commander Replay, we're back with round 2 of Homura Human Ascendant. Can our newfound removal and token production propel us to victory? Find out next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, be sure to check out my GoFundMe if you want to submit decks for me to play or do one-on-one deck reviews. Check the link in the description below. Welcome back everyone. Game 2 with Homura Human Ascendant, and this deck does come to us from GoFundMe donor Quentin. I've already mulliganed once. We had a handful of like 6 and 7 drops, was no good. This hand is okay. If we don't draw lands, it's going to be a problem. If we do draw lands, it should be okay, but the land count in this deck is a little bit low. I'm going to keep, but it's a little risky. I'm just going to kind of hope for the best. So in the first game of this series, the lack of removal in this deck did get exposed pretty hard by this Ghired opponent, and did do a lot of rework on the deck to get a lot more interaction into the deck, tighten up some things. There was a huge amount of mana ramp and just like not that much else, like mana ramp and creatures basically. So you do want more ways to interact with your opponents, slow them down, stop them, steal their stuff, blow their things up, that sort of stuff. So we've got a few of those now. Hopefully that works out for us. Didn't get the land count quite where I wanted it to get to. Probably adding 2 lands would be a good idea to this deck. Hopefully it's not a problem today, but we do have a very high ramp count. But some of those ramp pieces are a bit more expensive. Things like Neheb, things like the mana doublers. There's a 3rd land. That does make me very, very happy. So play this mountain, tap out, pass. So once again, Homura Human Ascendant is a 6 mana 4/4 that can't block, but when it dies, return it to the battlefield flip. When it flips, it's a legendary enchantment that says creatures you control get +2/+2 and have flying and gain fire breathing. So some pretty strong abilities on there for a token go wide deck. Did add a few things into the deck like this Goblin Rabble Master and this Loyal Apprentice, both great at making tokens. Also added this Neheb to the deck, just a beautiful, beautiful red card. Probably one of my favorite red cards. It's a very unique red card in that it makes a ton of mana, which is cool, but also like it's a 4/6. It's a red card that is strangely good at blocking and has like really high toughness. You don't see very many red cards that have higher toughness than they do power. So I don't know, it's just a really unique card. It's a card I really like. Love the art. Giant flaming spear. All very cool stuff. Love me some Neheb. Chaotic's doing some stuff over there. Piloting Vial Smasher today. He end-stepped a Vampiric Tutor. Don't know what he grabbed. Played a Witch's Oven and dropped a Basilisk Collar. I assume that Witch's Oven is part of a combo of some kind. We are playing slightly stronger decks today. Quentin did say that he was trying to get this deck geared up for a more high power setting. So I made some changes to the deck that would be commensurate with things that you might see in a high power meta. I'm going to expect combo out of Chaotic. And by the way, he is piloting Vial Smasher. Whenever they cast a first spell each turn, random damage to an opponent. Is this the Infect thing he talked about? Someone was talking about Vial Smasher Infect the other day. Was it him? Someone was. I talk about a lot of Magic. Hard to remember these things. Brings it back to our turn. There's a Volcanic Offering. Great piece of removal to have around. Can't wait to get that into play. Let's play the mountain, play this Arcane Signet, and we'll pass like that. Continuing on our opponents. Next up, we have Mugen 80 piloting Urza Lord High Artificer. Not a complete full power Urza build, but still going to be fairly strong. Don't know exactly what the top end of their deck looks like, but I imagine still very good things. So we'll need to be careful with them. I did cut one of the Red Elemental Blast type effects from the deck, so there's only one in the deck now. Always makes it a little scarier when you're running into a blue deck. And then finally, we've got 7/10 Life piloting Ghired Conclave Exile. In the last game, they exposed us pretty hard for not having creature removal in the deck, so definitely made a lot of changes to account for that. Hopefully have better interaction. They did have an early exploration in the last game, and early exploration is pretty good. Here comes a Riddlesmith for the Urza. And Timorit, the Murder King, in for Vial Smasher. Ooh, that's a Tormod's Crypt. Those are good. Opponent going on the attack with a Construct. That's going to hit the Ghired opponent. Brings it back to our turn. There's our Goblin Engineer. It's a fun card. I don't know that we're going for that one just yet. Probably want that one to be just a teeny bit more of a surprise, but let's play the mountain. I think I'm going for the Rabble Master right here. We could go for the Beetleback Chieftain for more mana efficiency, but Rabble Master takes just a little bit longer to get going. If it stays in play for a few turns, it's going to be a real headache for our opponent, where Beetleback Chieftain kind of just does the thing once, and that's that. Do hope we make that next land drop. That next one will get us Neheb. You know, I'm a little nervous about it. If that doesn't pan out, maybe we go Goblin Engineer and get like a Mana Rock or something, but really do want to save that for the Winter Orb. Added Winter Orb into the deck as a way to combat high-power decks. It is a fantastic option against high-power decks, and especially ramp decks. Opponent drops a Basilisk Collar and equips it to their Timorit the Murder King. That seems pretty good, actually, now that we're talking about it. That's a Tempt with Discovery. Well, we're taking the Tempt. We do need to hit that 5th land drop pretty badly, so. Yep, taking the Tempt. Would love to not do it. Oh, what land do we get? Valakut is interesting. Valakut gives us removal. Myriad Landscape and Makokoro are both things that can get us additional value, which is nice. I think I'm going to go for Valakut. Opponent goes for a Gaia's Cradle. Well, might be thinking about this Volcanic Offering. go Neheb into Volcanic Offering and then pop that Gaia's Cradle, along with some other interesting problems. Oh, opponent just got so many lands into play. Well, we're going to have to Volcanic Offering in their direction, I think. Potentially even for 2 lands. There's a Farhaven Elf, an unfortunate blocker. This thing's got Death Touch and Lifelink, so probably not going that way. May need to be just a little bit careful to make sure we get enough damage through on Neheb. And opponent's going to ETB a land. Yeah, they just ramped pretty hard. Pretty hard. So that Winter Orb, I think it's going to make a lot of sense. That's a Sword of the Animist. That is interesting. So if we went Neheb, we have exactly 5 mana right now. If they chump block the big one, we would get 2 damage in. Oh, that's not the best. Maybe that puts me on the sword, but Cradle is about to be a problem. Maybe we just go straight for the Volcanic and then kind of get like a redo on the turn almost. No, because then after that, we're going to be looking at Ghired next turn, even if we pop the land. Sword of the Animist puts us closer to that Valakut. That is the thing to think about. Think I'm on Neheb. The extra mana is just too enticing. Making some deals with opponents. Got a deal with Ghired right here to send some damage their way. We get 6 red mana off of the Neheb. It is Volcanic Offering time. Start by shooting this Gaia's Cradle. We will give 7/10 life the choice on the second land. Oh, I love Volcanic Offering so much. Does so many nice things. So they choose the Inventor's Fair. Not going to be looking at that today. I'm going to pop this Timuret right here. Timuret is repeatable removal on a stick. Seems not great for what we want to be doing. And we'll give 7/10 this second choice on the Volcanic Offering to blow up a creature that we don't control. And they're going to go for the Construct, surprisingly not Urza. But I get it, that Construct gets really big. Oh no, it got Arcane Denial. Well, at least we get to draw some cards. Hopefully we find some lands. Oh, that was going to be so good. So we get to draw with the Arcane Denial. Come on, lands. There's a land. Lands are good. Fault Line. Fault Line is also useful. We'll blow up all of our stuff in the moment. Can't say I love that. Here's something to think about. Gaia's Cradle is really good against Winter Orb. As soon as they get creatures out, which they will in this next turn, it means that locking things out with Winter Orb isn't really going to work until Gaia's Cradle goes down. There's a Phyrexian Arena for Chaotix. So we might just be on like a more try to further our own board state kind of plan. Get the mountain. Maybe think about our commander. Probably a good thing to have around. Think about the Sword of the Animist a little bit. Oh, well, there's a Strip Mine on the Gaia's Cradle, so Chaotix got it all under control. Winter Orb now looking much better. Ideally still some haste, if we can find some haste somewhere. Do it all in one shot so our opponents can't react to it. Opponent gets that Efficient Construction into play, one that we saw last game. Ghired coming into play. Still has 4 mana left over. Yeah, that's what everyone taking the Tempt will do. Opponent gets that 4/4 Rhino, and there's a Tri-Belder. Tri-Belder's pretty good. And a Blackblade Reforged. Woohoo! That's scary. And they have a lot of lands. So anything they put it on will be huge. That probably takes me off the Winter Orb plan once again, at least for the time being. There's a mountain. Mountains are good. Play a mountain. We don't have super safe attacks anywhere. Not ideal. I think I'm going to go Sword of the Animist first and then try to get Homura in the second. Seems like a plan. Who's getting the Sword of the Animist? We're putting it on Neheb. That'll give him 7 toughness, which I think is pretty relevant. Go to combat. We make another Goblin token. Send Neheb into Urza. I'm going to send the tokens into Chaotix. Does the Rabble Master need to go anywhere? It's going to get +3 power. It could be traded by Farhaven Elf and Tri-Belder. I don't know that they would do that. They could also trade it with the token. Let's see what happens. Sword of the Animist will trigger. Goblin Rabble Master will trigger. It's a 5/2, so like they'd have to trade something, or they could just chump with the Farhaven. Chaotix will block a token. That's fine. Opponent will block Neheb with the Riddlesmith. That'll still trigger the Afflict ability. I was talking about all the things I like about Neheb. That Afflict ability. Cool little thing that's just tacked on there. Pretty nice. Opponent's going to do the block and sack with the Tri-Belder. That's fine, I guess. May not have enough for Homura in the second main here. We might. I think some of the tokens are going to get through. So sack the Tri-Belder, get a land. Riddlesmith goes down. Opponent protecting their life total a bit. Stopping us from getting more mana. We get 5 red mana. That'll be good enough for our commander. Man, even that 1 extra land off Sword of the Animist, I feel a lot better already. And we'll pass like that. Chaotix will get a Phyrexian Arena trigger. Now the question is, how do we get our Homura to flip over? We have Fault Line. Fault Line not going to be great with this Blackblade Reforged running around. Although, this Timuret does have the ability to take down the Ghired. They could use a token, though. Needs to sacrifice another creature. I don't know that they sacrifice Vial Smasher to do it. Inventor's Fair trigger for Urza. They're going to gain some life. If someone shoots our Rabble Master and any of our tokens, then I Fault Line. It's a pretty easy choice, but until that happens, kind of a tough place to be. Mana Crypt, and that'll trigger Efficient Construction. Activate the Urza ability, shuffle. Ooh, Rapid Hybridize, that might be coming our way. I feel like Neheb might be on the chopping block here. Could also be Ghired. Yeah, Neheb going down. Okay. We get a Frog Lizard. Oh, that mana was so glorious. Missed Neheb already. If we caught a Mana Geyser off the top, we'd be able to do some real ridiculous things. Actually, I think this might work out. So we could go Fault Line and then just get Chaotix to shoot whatever they put the Blackblade Reforged on, probably their commander. Lifecrafter's Bestiary. Blackblade onto Ghired. It's huge. Oh, and they're gonna pump. Eee, that means that this is going to be, well, I had a whole sequence of plays lined up, and it's going to put the Rhino out of range of our Fault Line. I was planning to Sword of the Animist, equip it, attack, and then Fault Line after that. We would need a Mana Rock off the top to be able to do that still. All right, this Construct's going to go down. Okay, opponent takes 4, goes to 35. There's a Mountain. Oh, we get a Volakut trigger. All right, we can still do the thing. Volakut trigger on the Rhino. Now we can do it. Perfect. Oh, we can get a second Volakut trigger? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Use the ability. Put Sword of the Animist on Goblin Rabblemaster. Goblin Rabblemaster will create another token. Ghired's taking a little bit of damage. I think I want to get Urza's life total moving a little bit. Send the 3/3 over to Ghired. Let's hit Urza. Urza's scary. Attack like that. Rabblemaster and Sword of the Animist will trigger. Use the Sword of the Animist. Get a Mountain. Volakut trigger. I'm gonna shoot the Ghired in the face. Use the ability. Goblin Rabblemaster. So incredibly good. This is one of the upgrades that I recommended for the deck. I would definitely recommend picking up one of these. Also, Legion Warboss. Very similar. Slightly less good, but still very strong. Opponent gonna block one with the Urza. Sure. So we get some damage in. 2 of our opponents go down to 24. I'm down for that. Now we Fault Line. Well, it appears that I've misplayed. Timoret, if you read it, which I apparently didn't do, deals 2 damage to target player or planeswalker. It does not deal damage to creatures. Whoops. So opponent's going to have one really large Ghired on the battlefield that hopefully someone will deal with. Now, I'm not saying this is like a thing that you want to do, but occasionally when you kingmake someone in the way that we're about to do, other people on the table will deal with it. Like I said, it's not a thing you want to do all the time, but when you put someone else ahead a little bit, if someone else has removal, they will probably spend their removal to deal with it, so. That may be the situation we get into here, or we're going to pay the price for this Ghired being huge and surviving. So we clear out most of the board. One Thopter survives because it is in fact flying, and the Ghired survives because it has 17 toughness off the Blackblade Reforged. Oh god, no. No, I didn't change the zones on the commander. Oh god. Yeah, that's bad. That's real bad. Here comes a Whip of Erebos. Really bad. That's a big play, too, because it's going to take us 8 mana to get that thing back. Without a mana doubler, it's going to be rough. It's going to be really rough. Goblin Engineer can find an extra planar lens. Maybe we're doing that. Problem is we don't have, like, a ton of cards in hand. Although, with the few that we have, of like, Loyal Apprentice sticks, might be good enough just because a few tokens plus mana doubler plus fire breathing is all good stuff. And low land count deck, we've been pulling lands out, so our likelihood of drawing more lands is getting lower and lower each turn. Urza back to play, gets another construct. Voltaic Key triggers the efficient construction. Well, Urza rebuilt really well from what was happening. Opponent uses the Urza ability, hits a land, gets a land. Pretty safe. It's pretty safe. Urza really good against Winter Orb because all of their artifacts tap for mana. So Ghired low on cards, probably not going on the Winter Orb plan. Yeah, I think I'm like an extra planar lens maybe with the Goblin Engineer. Without flipping our commander over there, I honestly wouldn't have played the Fault Line. We were in a pretty good spot generating tokens and things that do damage, so high market off the top would be helpful. Ghired going on the attack. Who's getting this one? We're going to want blockers. Gotta be me or KO. KO's getting this one. I talked about it in the upgrade section, but something like Underworld Breach. This is where you want it. We could get back in the Heb, get back a Volcanic Offering, get back a Rabblemaster, some sort of recursion. Underworld best bet. You could also use like God Pharaoh's Gift. A little expensive at 7 mana, but it's something. Hour of Reckoning. Destroy all non-token creatures. These are all tokens. That's bad. Urza will go down. Unless it gets countered. Ghired will go down, and like we don't have that much in play. I'm not sure of this line of play right here. Unless they're really that scared of Urza, that they just want no part of Urza. Yeah, I guess Urza's probably about to bury us in value. Opponent lets that resolve. I think they have a mana drain in hand. We want to be careful of that. So, probably not going to go for our commander with a mana drain floating around. Ooh, Dockside Extortionist. Lots of mana. Not a lot to do with it in this moment, though, although they can equip a Blackblade Reforged. Maybe next turn, though. 7 if it's non-legendary, but they can draw a card. Also seems good. Dockside. Million tokens right here. Oh, that's so many. Was that like 15? If they find anything at all to do with their mana, they can do it. What they can do is recast their commander and then pay the green, draw a card, see what they find. Doesn't seem awful. Yeah, here comes their commander. Lifecrafter's trigger. It resolves. Opponent draws a card off the Lifecrafters. Yeah, with the Dockside in their hand, Hour of Reckoning play now. Makes a lot of sense. Re-equip the Blackblade Reforged. Yep, it's huge. Gonna be tough to get there with red removal. Another thing we could think about is also like a Skull Clamp with the Goblin Engineer. Kind of depends on what our next card or two is going to look like. Mind Stone. Mind Stone's fine. If we shoot this Rhino, then they don't have a token to populate on. That seems like a good thing, right? I think that is a good thing. Play this Mountain, Volca trigger on the Rhino, use the ability, Loyal Apprentice, Mind Stone, equip Sword of the Animist, go to combat, swing into Urza. I'll happily eat a token right here. Get a Sword of the Animist trigger, grab a land, Volakut, finish off this Rhino. Main phase 2, I'm going to go for this Goblin Engineer. We've got choices. I don't think Winter Orb is the right card. We're not ahead, and Urza is good against Winter Orb. Is Immortal Sun? No, we can't get Immortal Sun back with it. So I think Extraplanar Lens or Skull Clamp up here. Hazardous is okay. Yeah, I think I'm on Skull Clamp. So Skull Clamp into the graveyard. 3 mana left. Could crack a Mind Stone. We'll wait, I guess. The other thing we could have looked at, too, is getting a sack outlet for our commander. We need to get our commander to die again. You know what we forgot to do is get a blocker for this Ghired. Because we can't block with the Engineer. Let's see if there's more board wipe action. Here comes Vial Smasher into play. Yep. Basilisk Collar onto the Vial Smasher. Yeah, it's a meaningful life gain. Also a Death Touch blocker. Means we are probably eating that Ghired. Sack the Signet, keep the Mind Stone as an additional draw option. Urza coming back to play. It's going to create another construct. And now we have 2 8/8s. It's a lot of damage. If they want to decide to try and pressure us, that would be a problem. Opponent's going to activate the Urza. Shuffle and exile the top card. Maybe not that much in hand. Chaotix is going to respond by putting a +1/+1 counter and a lifelink counter on target creature. That'll trigger Vial Smasher. They get 2 damage. Let's see where that goes. Think that got Ghired? Chaotix back up to 17. Urza trigger. Let's see what they hit. Basalt Monolith. Yeah, Mana Rock. Does go infinite with things. Gotta watch out for that. Cast it into the Efficient Construction. Ooh, the Thopters. The Thopter's gonna be a problem. So if our Homura was in play, we would theoretically have like pretty good damage in the air and just Volakut the Thopter, and we could probably take them out in our turn, but because it's not, it's a pretty big problem. Pretty big problem. We're basically not getting to see the strength of the deck. Ooh, these are 10/10s now. Don't turn those our way. Definitely need to get the Beetleback Chieftain in just to have some blockers. There's a lot of big things. One thing we could look at too, if we catch a land, we could look at double Volakut on our Homura, but that's a lot of mana to do that. Land off the top. We'd have exactly enough. Maybe that's a reason to crack the Mind Stone. But we can also Skull Clamp. Yeah, we have the Skull Clamp coming. That's a Helm of the Host. I think opponent has a mana drain, so I hope this Nope, it resolves. Equips Helm of the Host, puts it on the Ghired. I mean, it has to be coming our way, right? Helm of the Host trigger. There's a second Ghired. There's another Rhino. Ooh, Ghired into the Urza. Okay. I'll take the small Ghired. That's fine with me. So there's 2 Ghired's attacking. They populate twice. Yeah, this is about to be a problem. Oh, no, they populate the Ghired's, because those are tokens now, and non-legendary. So there's 3 of those, which means, yeah, in the next turn we'll probably lose if a board wipe doesn't happen, or if we can't take them out. No blocks. Oh, and they have 3 Rhinos, yep. Opponent's gonna double block the big one. That's good. 1 down. That'll eat a token. Shamanic Revelation. Opponent's gonna draw a card for each creature they control. That's gonna be a bunch. Looks like 7. Goes up to 7 cards in hand. Hey, yep. That's the refill that I've been worried about. Once that happens, now, more stuff on the way. Ooh, and they're up to 30. They gain some life off that. We draw a Myriad Landscape. Not a mountain. Sadness. So step 1 is make a mana, use the Goblin Engineer, get the Skull Clamp, sacrifice the Arcane Signet. We are currently 1 short of casting Beetleback Chieftain and our commander. That's pretty rough. So I think it's going to be Beetleback Chieftain, get some 1/1s, Skull Clamp 1, draw some cards. Red Elemental Blast is interesting. Homeward Path, medium interesting. I guess Skull Clamp the next one? Combat Celebrant's an interesting card. Okay, so I think we go Myriad Landscape. I'm going to go no attacks right here. I'm going to leave this Beetleback Chieftain as a blocker. We do need blockers. Get the Combat Celebrant into play. Use the Mind Stone. Put the Skull Clamp on the Beetleback Chieftain. It'll probably get eaten over this next turn cycle. And we're just going to leave some blockers up. And then we've got Red Elemental Blast in case some big nasty blue spell happens. Chaotix gonna draw a card, lose a life. Reaper of Shieldred. Infect, yeah, this is the Infect Vial Smasher deck, I think. 5 damage to someone. Who's getting it? Don't be us. It was us, down to 25. Ouch. Should read this. Lifelink. In fact, whenever a source deals damage to Reaper of Shieldred, that source's controller gets a poison counter, so a red board wipe would be not great against that. Mayhem Devil. Whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, it deals 1 damage to any target. Yeah, seems good. Combat Celebrant might be on the chopping block with that. Inventor's Fair trigger. Opponent's gonna pull from tomorrow X8. If there's ever anything to counter, that seems like it. Ooh, opponent's gonna dispel it. Alright, well, we got one out of the way. Try to clear the counters for our mob rule when it eventually shows up. Opponent has 11 cards in hand. Discards a Whir of Invention. The good thing is, having just drawn so many cards, this might turn the Ghired attention that way, because that is a lot of cards to draw. Opponent tapping up a lot of their blockers. If they don't plan to play some bounce or some protection, could be an issue for them. Oh, opponent just Hurkyl's recalled and bounced all their artifacts back to their hand. When they recast them, they're going to get a million. Uh-oh. That's an Aetherflux reservoir. Press F in the chat. Tormod's crypt, Aetherflux, efficient construction. Just gonna go fast mode from here on out while they recast all this stuff. Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, bunch of triggers. Voltaic Key, Basalt Monolith. This one's gonna put opponent above 50. Torpor Orb, Spellbook, Windfall. 6 is the number. We'll get to look at some new cards. Opponent's up to 93. They got 2 opponents on the chopping block. More zeros, and it's gonna be a problem. Mox Amber, Mystic Forge. Ooh, that's bad. I think maybe like 2 more spells and they're probably above 150. Spellbomb. That was 137 from 120 something, maybe 3 spells. 2 more from this point. The next one's probably like 148, 149. Oh, Mayhem Devil. Only gonna shoot him for 1. Who knows, maybe it keeps him off 150. If we untap, which I doubt we will. But if we did, under some strange set of circumstances, maybe a Croson Grip on the Aetherflux Reservoir, probably about the only way. I believe Kiki goes infinite with Combat Celebrant, does it not? Because the token one would have haste, and this untaps all other creatures you control. Yeah, I think that would go infinite. Fact Fiction 153. Think we can scoop it here. Yep, there's an Aetherflux trigger. Down goes Chaotix. Down goes Ghired. So the problem is that we didn't pressure opponent enough. Also, Urza's just strong. Urza's very good. So the fact that Urza makes bodies and had blockers up all game made it tough to get that damage in. And once we messed up with the Homura, that made it really tough. If it had flipped like it was supposed to, we would have gotten more damage into them, but I don't think it was lethal all in that one turn, even if we focused everything in their direction. And even if we did that, Ghired was still a problem. So yeah, Urza's just a tough cookie. That's just the way Urza deck is. Probably needed a bit more focus from the table. I definitely, looking back on it, I didn't like my fault line play at all. We probably could have held on to that a bit longer, which I think means this deck just wants more sack outlets. I'd probably add an Ashnod's Altar for the Homura because I didn't necessarily want to blow up our Goblin Rabblemaster to get this thing flipped over, but it was the best option in that moment. So I would probably go more sack outlets, and those will also give you extra mana too, so I'd probably look into that. Otherwise, I thought it played much, much better this time around. Like, we did get to do a lot of things. We had creatures on board. The fault line play kind of messed us up, and we never really recovered in the right ways. If our Red Elemental Blast didn't get countered, opponent probably doesn't combo right there. Also, our Volcanic Offering got countered early in the game. If that sticks, that slows opponent down a lot, because now they've missed a land, their commander's out of play, and then they're on their back foot for much longer than they were. They didn't really lose anything by countering that, so if that Volcanic Offering resolves, they would have been in a much worse place. So, you know, the counterspell saving them a little bit, and that's a thing that'll happen. But yeah, I did think the deck played much better this time around. I liked what was going on. We had a good chance. Just things didn't quite fall the way we needed them to when we needed them to, so anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. And if you're planning to buy Ikoria, M21, or Commander 20 cards, please use the TCG affiliate player link below because it helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything.